everybody. It's a rainy day here in Chicago, and I just wanted to come on and do a live and just kind of talk about something that was on my mind. I was just doing a class for some students, a live class, and I was just thanking them for showing up, and I was really thinking about that in terms of what it means to show up, as a guitar teacher or as a guitar student. I kind of think, anyone who says they're a teacher of the guitar who does not also think that they're a student of the guitar, I would be worried about. That's not someone you should probably take on as a teacher, because anyone who's, really deeply into this, they're going to be continuing to study and learn things. I learn things all the time, even from my students. And, it's a two-way street. It's like the student has to show up and the teacher has to show up in order, I think, for you to move forward, to learn, new things. It's really pretty key, because, once I took a few lessons from a piano teacher who, when I was taking lessons from the guy, he would be answering phone calls. He would have a phone call on his cell, and he'd be talking, talking on his phone. And then I think he couldn't find a cable to plug in the keyboard at one point. That was another, 10 minutes of the lesson. And the teacher has to be there and show up for the student, but the student also has to show up. And that's why I really like, I'm live right now, but I like doing, teaching live, doing live classes, because it forces me to do the class. It forces me to show up and deliver the goods and teach. But I think it's also good for the students, because they have to show up. They show up live, or, there's also a replay recording if you can't make it live. But they're watching this thing in relatively real time, close to when we're, creating it and doing the class. And that really, I think, motivates people to learn, and it's interesting because there's so much information out there nowadays. We're in information overload with, stuff about the guitar lessons. And I make a lot of, free guitar lessons with a lot of my best content that I put out on, on YouTube and different channels, Facebook and whatnot. But the thing is, a lot of times people don't learn from that material because it's harder to show up for it. And a lot of times when people pay to come take a paid class, they actually learn more, and you wonder, why is that when there's all this great free information? But I think it's because when you pay for something, it kind of makes you want to show up for it, and it's the same reason people pay for a gym membership. You could run around your house, run around your block or whatever, do push-ups, do a workout with a chair. But when people pay to, do something, then they have more skin in the game, So it's just interesting how it all works, But in the end, that's the most difficult thing that I find that that people tell me. The hardest thing is, having the time to play, having the time to learn. So you got to make the time. Even if it's a little bit of time, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. Ragtime. It's a rainy day in Chicago, that's right. rock star territory up there. A little bit of that ragtime kind of chord progression, and that progression there and the one I played at the beginning are both the same chord progression, what I call 6-2-5-1, and that's very typical of. There's a lot of ragtime, whole bunch of ragtimey or ragtime blues tunes that fit into that chord progression, and a lot of the early players like Reverend Gary Davis and Blind Boy Fuller, Blind Blake, all those early finger-picking guitar players that had some kind of tune that fit into that chord progression. So it's kind of fun. I'm just improvising on it, really, just kind of playing different voicings, playing the same chords in different places, which is like mainly what I do if I want to mix things up, because I'm finger-picking and I don't have any backup. I play chords more than like scales and stuff like that, you know. So back to the topic at hand. Are you ready to show up? I think, you know, it's just a matter of like committing to it. You don't necessarily have to spend money on it, but, you know, finding a path, finding a teacher that is good for you. I may or may not be the right guitar teacher for you, but I think if you find someone you like and you stick to their, you know, learn from their method, their content, that's a good way to go. It's hard to really narrow things down in this information, flood of information, you know, that we exist in. And that's what I try to do, is show up and give good information, show people, you know, good technique, and explain the music well, make it, you know, easy to follow and whatnot. But that's basically what I wanted to say about, you know, are you ready to show up? Because I know I'm ready to show up, and I love showing up, especially doing live things where everybody's just got their guitar and we're in it, making it happen in the moment. And it makes you, you know, move forward with it. You know, it's not easy to do, for sure. So what else is going on? I'm doing a live broadcast coming up with Joe Falisco. We're going to be doing a live performance on Thursday, May 29, 2025. And you can get information on that at rootsduo.com. That's our website. You can buy a ticket there if you want to check that show out. That's the next thing I really have coming up. Also be in Texas for the Kerrville Folk Festival Harmonica Workshop, also with Joe Falisco and our friend Rob Roy Parnell and Michael Dieth. That's going to be really cool. Harmonica event. We'll be teaching harmonica, jamming. I'll be providing some guitar accompaniment as well as teaching harmonica. So yeah, lots of good stuff is coming up. I hope you have a great day. I guess I'll play a little bit more to wrap things up with this somewhat spontaneous live stream. I just wanted to show up and talk about showing up at the same time. See, it's a double-edged thing. folks. Thanks for stopping by. Until the next time, I'll see you then.